Welcome to Kiss and Chapters, where every story begins with a spark and ends with a swoon. If you love heart-fluttering romances, unexpected twists, and characters you'll root for, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep bringing you more sweet, emotional, and unforgettable stories. Let's fall in love with every chapter, together. Chapter 1. The Transmigration Fiasco. I woke up to birds chirping, which was not the vibe for my usual mornings of honking cars and stale coffee. My head pounded like I'd been whacked by the chandelier from that coffee shop. The last thing I remembered before everything went black. 1 minute I'm scrolling through Hearts of Valor on my phone, fangirling over Duke Thaddeus Valcour's stupidly perfect face. The next I'm here? Or was here? Velvet curtains, a 4-poster bed, and a room that screamed Pride and Prejudice fanfic? This was not my apartment. I scrambled to a mirror, nearly tripping over a frilly nightgown that looked like it belonged in a costume drama. The face staring back wasn't mine. Porcelain skin, hazel eyes, chestnut curls pinned up like a Pinterest board. This was Lady Penelope's face. A side character from Hearts of Valor who shows up for one ball, trips over her dress and poofs out of the story. Oh hell no, I muttered, my voice all soft and proper, not my usual caffeine gravel growl. I'm in a freaking novel? I'd read enough transmigration stories to know the drill. Stuck in a side character's body? No biggie. I'd just avoid the plot, hole up in this fancy manor, and live my best spoon-eating life. Lady Penelope's a nobody in the story, so staying out of trouble should be easy, right? No love triangles, no drama, just vibes. A knock on the door made me jump. A maid, Rosie I guessed from the book, popped in, all smiles and curtsies. Good morning, my lady. You're expected at the royal ball tonight. My stomach did a backflip. The royal ball. The one scene Lady Penelope's in before she dips out of the narrative. Hard pass, I said, crossing my arms. Rosie blinked like I just banned tea. My lady, it's a royal summons. Attendance is mandatory. Great. Just great. I was getting dragged into the plot I swore to dodge. And worse. I'd have to face Duke Thaddeus Valcour, the male lead who's basically a walking romance novel cover. My inner fangirl was already losing it. Oh my god, Thaddeus in the flesh? His jawline could carve diamonds and those storm gray eyes? I'm not built for this. I spent the day with Rosie trying to nail noble etiquette while internally screaming. Lacing up a corset? Torture. Curtsying without face planting? A miracle. By evening I was stuffed into a sapphire blue gown, hair piled high, and carted off to the royal palace like a reluctant cosplayer. The ballroom was a glitter explosion. Chandeliers sparkling, silk gowns swishing, like someone had deep-fried Versailles. I hugged a corner, clutching a flute of something bubbly, praying I'd blend into the wallpaper. If I stay quiet, I'm invisible. Just another extra in a poofy dress. No plot for me, thanks. Then I saw him. Duke Thaddeus Valcour striding through the crowd like he invented charisma. Raven hair swept back, navy coat hugging his broad shoulders, and those eyes, gray and sharp enough to cut through my soul. My brain short-circuited. Holy crap, he's hotter than the book art. Is that legal? I need to file a complaint with the universe. A faint smirk tugged at his lips and my heart skidded to a halt. Wait, was he looking at me? No way, he was probably eyeing Princess Evangeline, the female lead, twirling nearby in a gold gown that screamed main character energy. I shrank back, chanting in my head, don't see me, don't see me. Lady Penelope, a voice like velvet and whiskey said beside me. I yelped, nearly sloshing my drink. Thaddeus stood there, all 6'2" of him, looking like he'd stepped off a bestseller list. Might I have this dance? My brain crashed like a bad Wi-Fi connection. Dance? With Thaddeus? His hands are probably warm and perfect and I'm gonna yeet myself into the sun. His smirk widened like he'd heard something funny. Weird. Dancing's not my thing, I stammered, flailing my free hand. Bad knees. Clumsy vibes. You know, side character problems. Side character problems? He echoed, one brow arching like a romance hero's signature move. You're full of surprises, my lady. His tone was playful, almost knowing? Hey, chill, Penelope. He doesn't know you're a transmigrated fangirl. That's not a thing. Before I could bolt, he took my hand, his grip firm and warm, and pulled me onto the dance floor. His scent, cedar and sin, hit me like a plot twist. This is fine. I'm fine. Just don't think about how his cheekbones could launch a fandom. His lips twitched again. What was with that smirk? The waltz started and I stumbled through the steps, praying I wouldn't trip over my gown. Thaddeus led with infuriating ease, his hand on my waist like he was born to ruin me. Oh God, he's too close. His eyes are illegal. Abort mission. That smirk flickered again and I swear he was holding back a laugh. You seem distracted, Lady Penelope, he said, his voice low and teasing. Distracted? Me. Just admiring the chandeliers. I lied, my face hotter than a summer barbecue. Don't think about his shoulders. Don't do it. Too late. My brain was a thirst trap and Thaddeus's grip tightened slightly, his eyes glinting with amusement. The dance felt eternal, every step a battle to keep my fangirl thoughts in check. He's a duke, not a K-pop idol. Get it together, Penelope. When the music finally stopped, I curtsied, miraculously without falling, and mumbled an excuse to flee. Thaddeus bowed, his smirk still in place. Until we meet again, my lady, he said like he knew I'd be back. I retreated to my corner, heart pounding. Hey universe, what was that? Why is Thaddeus acting like he's in on a joke I didn't tell? I had to avoid him. No more plot. No more dukes. Just scones and safety. But as I glanced back, Thaddeus was watching me, that maddening smirk still there like he knew something I didn't. Chapter 2, The Duke's Teasing Game. If I thought surviving the royal ball was my ticket to a quiet, spoon-filled life, I was dead wrong. The morning after, I woke up in Lady Penelope's frilly bed, my head still spinning from that waltz with Duke Thaddeus Valcour. His smirk, those storm-gray eyes, the way his hand felt on my waist. Nope, brain, we're not going there. I had one goal, avoid the plot. No Thaddeus, no Princess Evangeline, no drama. Just me, this manor, and maybe some magical equivalent of Netflix. Easy, right? Wrong. Rosie, my maid and apparent life coach, burst into my room with a stack of invitations thicker than a fantasy novel. My lady, you've been invited to 3 tea parties, a charity gala, and a garden soiree this week, she chirped like this was good news. I groaned, burying my face in a pillow that probably cost more than my old apartment's rent. Rosie, can't I just fake a fever? Say I'm allergic to social events. She gave me that look, the one that said I was about 5 seconds from being force-fed etiquette lessons. Lady Penelope, you're the talk of the court after last night. Declining would be improper. Improper? Improper was me mentally thirsting over Thaddeus while he smirked like he knew my social security number. Who got that smirk? Is he allowed to be that hot? It's like he's weaponizing his face. I froze, glancing around as if he could hear me from miles away. Chill, Penelope. He's a duke, not a mind reader. Or so I thought. The first event was a tea party at Lady Margaret's estate, a pastel nightmare of lace doilies and tiny sandwiches that screamed calorie-free suffering. I wore a mint green gown that made me look like a walking cupcake and plastered on a smile, determined to be invisible. Just sip tea, nod politely, and don't think about Thaddeus's stupidly perfect jawline. I was doing great, until the man himself walked in. Thaddeus Valcour, in a tailored gray coat that hugged his shoulders like it was in love with him, strode into the room like he owned the concept of gravity. My brain short-circuited. Are you kidding me? Does he have a tracker on me? This is not in the book. Lady Penelope doesn't do tea parties with the male lead. His eyes locked onto mine and that infuriating smirk curved his lips. Oh no, he's coming over. Abort, abort. Lady Penelope, he said, his voice like velvet dipped in trouble. What a pleasant surprise. Surprise. You're the one crashing my incognito mode. I forced a curtsy, nearly knocking over a teacup. Duke Thaddeus, I squeaked. Didn't expect you here. Don't you have like Duke stuff to do? Ruling lands? Brooding dramatically. His smirk widened like I'd just told the world's best joke. Brooding can wait. I find the company here unusually captivating. Captivating? Is he flirting? No, he's supposed to flirt with Evangeline, not me. Plot, stay on track. His eyes twinkled and I swear he was holding back a laugh. Okay, what was his deal? Was he just naturally this smug or was something else going on? I spent the tea party dodging him, which was harder than it sounds when every noblewoman in the room was throwing heart eyes his way. I hid behind a potted fern, pretending to admire the leaves while mentally screaming, why is he everywhere? His hair's so shiny it's practically a war crime. A soft chuckle came from behind me, and I spun to find Thaddeus leaning against a pillar, looking way too amused. "Fond of ferns, my lady?" he asked. "Yup, love me some foliage," I mumbled, my face hotter than the tea. Great, now he thinks I'm a plant nerd. Why is he so close? His cologne should be illegal. That smirk flickered again and I bolted to the refreshment table, praying for a distraction. Distraction came, but not the kind I wanted. Princess Evangeline, the novel's female lead, glided into the tea party like a golden sunrise. Her gown shimmered, her blonde curls glowed, and every head turned. There she is, the main character. Go flirt with her, Thaddeus, and leave me to my ferns. I watched, expecting him to make a beeline for her, but he stayed put, sipping tea and glancing at me. Weird. Then disaster struck. Evangeline, trying to navigate the crowded room, caught her heel on a rug and stumbled toward a table laden with crystal glassware. Without thinking, I lunged forward, grabbing her arm to steady her. The room gasped, the glassware wobbled but didn't fall, and Evangeline blinked at me like I'd just teleported. "Lady Penelope, thank you," she said, her voice warm but surprised. "That could have been unfortunate." "No problem," I said, forcing a smile while my brain screamed, "Why did I do that? Now she knows my name. I'm supposed to be invisible." Thaddeus, still nearby, raised an eyebrow, his smirk now a full-on grin. "What's so funny, Smirk Lord? Focus on your future wife." Evangeline smiled again, insisting I join her for tea, and I couldn't say no without looking like a jerk. So there I was, stuck between the female lead and the male lead, sipping tea like my life wasn't spiraling. Evangeline was all charm, asking about my family's estate, while Thaddeus kept tossing in comments that felt pointed. "Lady Penelope has a unique perspective," he said at one point, his eyes glinting. "Her thoughts are quite vivid." Vivid? What's that supposed to mean? Does he know I'm mentally rating his cheekbones on a scale of 10 to God tier? I nearly choked on my tea. "Just a normal brain here," I blurted, earning a puzzled look from Evangeline and another chuckle from Thaddeus. "Okay, seriously, why does he keep laughing? Is my face doing something weird?" I excused myself to admire more ferns, but Thaddeus followed, leaning close to whisper, "You're not as subtle as you think, my lady." My heart did a backflip. Subtle? What's he implying? Does he know I'm not from this world? No, that's crazy. I mumbled something about needing air and fled to the garden, where I spent the rest of the event hiding behind a rosebush, cursing my fangirl brain. The week got worse. Thaddeus showed up at every event. The charity gala, the garden soiree, even a random poetry reading I thought was Duke-proof. Each time he found me dropping cryptic lines like, "You seem lost in thought, Lady Penelope," while I mentally screamed, "Because you're a walking thirst trap, that's why." His smirks grew bolder, like he was enjoying some private joke, and I started to wonder if I was cursed. Is this novel haunted? Why is the male lead stalking a side character? The final straw came when he coincidentally visited my manor. I was in the garden trying to enjoy a rare moment of peace, when Rosie announced, "Duke Thaddeus is here." I dropped my book, a romance novel because of course, and nearly fell into a fountain. "He's in my house. My house. This is my scone sanctuary." Thaddeus strolled in, looking unfairly perfect in the sunlight, his coat unbuttoned just enough to make my brain glitch. Oh no, the golden hour lighting is making him glow. "I'm not strong enough for this. Lady Penelope," he said, bowing slightly. I was passing by and thought to pay my respects. Passing by? This manor's in the middle of nowhere. "You're up to something, Duke Hotshot." His eyes twinkled and I swear he was fighting a laugh. "Your garden is lovely," he added. "Though I suspect your thoughts are far more colorful." Colorful? I squeaked, my face burning. "Just thinking about roses. And dirt. Normal stuff." "Liar, you're thinking about how his hair looks like it was styled by angels." He stepped closer, picking a rose and handing it to me with a grin. "A rose for your thoughts, then." I took it, my fingers brushing his, and my brain went full fangirl meltdown. "His hands are warm. I'm deceased. Send help." That smirk was back, bigger than ever, and I bolted inside, muttering about needing to check on something. Anything. As if my life wasn't chaotic enough, a letter arrived that evening, sealed with the royal crest. My hands shook as I opened it. An invitation to stay at court for the season, at the request of Princess Evangeline. What? This is not in the book. I saved her from one tiny scandal and now I'm her BFF? My plan to avoid the plot was crumbling faster than a bad rom-com. I flopped onto my bed, staring at the ceiling. Thaddeus's smirks, Evangeline's invitation, my inability to stop mentally thirsting. It was too much. Is the universe pranking me? Why is Thaddeus everywhere, acting like he knows my secrets? I had to figure out what was going on before I accidentally derailed the entire novel. But deep down, a tiny, traitorous part of me wondered. What if Thaddeus's teasing meant he liked me? No, Penelope, don't be dumb. He's destined for Evangeline. Stick to the plan. Avoid the plot, survive, and eat scones. Easier said than done when the male lead was apparently my new shadow. Chapter 3. Court Chaos and Loud Thoughts. If I thought tea parties and garden soirees were bad, moving to the royal court was like signing up for a reality show called Survive the Nobles or Die of Embarrassment. Princess Evangeline's invitation wasn't optional. Apparently, saying no to royalty is how you end up exiled to a swamp. So, I packed my frilly gowns, bid farewell to my scone sanctuary, and rolled up to the palace in a carriage that screamed, extra in a period drama. My plan? Blend into the wallpaper, avoid Thaddeus Valcour's stupidly perfect face, and not derail the plot of Hearts of Valor. Easy, right? Spoiler, it wasn't. The palace was a glittering maze of marble halls, enchanted tapestries that shimmered with tiny stars, and nobles who looked like they'd been born with a superiority complex. Rosie, my maid and only ally, helped me settle into my guest quarters. A room so fancy I was afraid to touch anything. My lady, you'll do fine, she said, adjusting my lavender gown for my first official court appearance. Just smile and don't trip. Great advice, Rosie. Next, tell me not to think about Thaddeus's cheekbones. Bez, that's going so well. My brain was already betraying me, replaying that garden moment with his rose and that smirk. Why does he keep popping up like a romance novel jump scare? Court was a whole new level of chaos. My first event was a formal audience with the queen, which meant curtsying in front of a throne room full of judgy nobles. I practiced in my room until my knees screamed, but the moment I stepped into the throne room, my brain went, oh God, it's like walking into a live-action Bridgerton set, but I'm the one who forgets her lines. The queen, all regal in her silver crown, smiled politely as I approached. I curtsied, miraculously without falling, and mumbled something about being honored. Don't screw this up, Penelope. Just don't think about Thaddeus standing over there looking like a Greek god in a waistcoat. Of course he was there. Duke Thaddeus Valcour, leaning against a pillar like he was posing for a book cover, his navy coat accentuating those storm-gray eyes. Why is he allowed to look that good? It's distracting. Plot, focus on Evangeline, not me. His lips twitched and I swear he was fighting a laugh. Hey, seriously, what's with the smirking? Does he have a face cramp or something? I tore my eyes away, focusing on the queen who was droning on about some festival. But Thaddeus's presence was like a magnet, pulling my thoughts into fangirl territory. After the audience, Evangeline cornered me, all golden curls and main character energy. Lady Penelope, I'd love for you to join me at the court luncheon, she said, her smile so genuine it made me feel like a fraud. He's too nice. Why is she nice? In the book, she's supposed to be aloof until chapter 10. Sure, I said, because refusing a princess is how you end up scrubbing floors in a fairy tale. Great, now I'm her sidekick. This is not staying low-key. The luncheon was a minefield of etiquette rules. Forks for this, spoons for that, and don't even get me started on the napkin origami. I sat across from Evangeline, trying to mimic her graceful sips of soup, while Prince Cassian, the novel's rival suitor, eyed me from down the table. His golden hair and sly smile screamed, charming villain, and I did not like the way he was watching me. Oh no, Cassian's onto me. He's probably thinking, who's this random chick stealing the spotlight? Stay away, plot. Thaddeus, of course, was seated nearby, looking unfairly perfect while cutting his chicken with surgical precision. He caught my eye and raised his glass, his smirk back in full force. To new friends at court, Lady Penelope, he said, his voice dripping with something I couldn't place. New friends? Is he mocking me? Or is he flirting? No, he's supposed to flirt with Evangeline, not the side character. My brain went into overdrive. His hands on that glass are criminal. I bet they're strong enough to, stop it, Penelope. His smirk widened and I nearly dropped my spoon. What is his deal? It's like he knows I'm mentally writing fanfic about him. I was saved from further humiliation by a commotion at the far end of the hall. A crystal chandelier, One of those enchanted ones that floated without chains, started flickering wildly, sparks of magic shooting out like a rogue firework. The nobles gasped and I froze, recognizing the scene from the book. Oh crap, this is the magical incident in Chapter 3. A faulty spell goes haywire and Thaddeus saves the day. I'm supposed to stay out of it. But as the chandelier wobbled, threatening to crash, my modern instincts kicked in. I grabbed a silver tray from the table and shoved it under a falling spark, deflecting it before it could hit Evangeline. The room went silent. Evangeline blinked at me wide-eyed. "Lady Penelope, you're remarkably quick," she said. Thaddeus, who'd leapt to his feet, paused, his expression shifting from concern to something like admiration. "Oh no, I just stole his hero moment. Why did I do that? I'm supposed to be invisible." Cashin's eyes narrowed and I could practically hear his villain brain whirring. "Great, now the bad guy's suspicious. Way to go, Penelope." Thaddeus approached, his smirk softer now, almost impressed. "Lady Penelope, your reflexes are extraordinary," he said, his tone teasing but warm. "One might think you've trained for such chaos." "Trained?" "Yeah, trained in dodging plot points and failing miserably." I laughed nervously. "Just, lucky, I guess." "Lucky?" "More like cursed." "Why is he looking at me like that?" "His eyes are too pretty. I'm gonna sue this novel." The court mages fixed the chandelier and the luncheon resumed, but I was now the center of attention. Nobles whispered, Evangeline kept thanking me and Cashin's stare felt like a laser. Thaddeus, infuriatingly, stayed close, dropping lines like, "You have a knack for surprises, my lady," that made my face burn. "Surprises? You're the one who keeps showing up like a sexy plot twist." His lips twitched again and I started to wonder if I was losing it. Is he laughing at my thoughts? No, that's impossible. Right? Later at a court garden party things got worse. Evangeline insisted I walk with her, chatting about dresses and festivals like we were besties. This is bad. If I'm her friend, I'm in the plot. I just wanted scones. Thaddeus joined us, of course, and every time I thought something like, "His coat fits like it was painted on. Why is he allowed to be this hot?" he'd smirk or make a cryptic comment like, "You seem deep in thought, Lady Penelope." Deep in thought. I'm deep in a crisis, buddy. The final straw came during a court dance rehearsal. I was paired with Thaddeus, because the universe hates me, and his hand on my waist sent my brain into a fangirl spiral. Oh god, his touch is electric. I'm not built for this. He's too close and his cologne is pure evil. Halfway through the dance he leaned in, his breath warm against my ear. "You're far more interesting than you let on, my lady," he whispered. My knees wobbled and I nearly tripped. Interesting? What does that mean? Does he know I'm not Lady Penelope? Or is he just messing with me? I fled the dance floor, muttering about needing air and hid behind a hedge, my heart pounding. Thaddeus was everywhere, his smirks were relentless. And now I was Evangeline's new pal and Cashin's target. This is not the side character life I signed up for. What's next? A dragon attack. As if on cue, a faint rumble shook the ground and I groaned. Universe, I was kidding. I had to figure out what Thaddeus knew and why he was so fixated on me before I accidentally rewrote the entire novel. Chapter 4. Secrets and Sabotage. Living at court was like being stuck in a glittery soap opera with no mute button. Between dodging Princess Evangeline's BFF vibes, avoiding Prince Cashin's villainous side-eye, and trying not to melt every time Duke Thaddeus Valcour smirked at me, I was one bad curtsy away from a nervous breakdown. My plan to stay invisible as Lady Penelope, the side character nobody remembers from Hearts of Valor, was in shambles. I just wanted scones and peace. Why is the universe serving me chaos and hot dukes instead? And Thaddeus's constant appearances, those storm-gray eyes, that jawline sharper than my sarcasm, were not helping. He's supposed to be wooing Evangeline, not haunting my personal space like a sexy ghost. Things got worse when Rosie, my maid and unofficial therapist, dropped a bombshell over breakfast. I was nibbling on toast in my palace quarters, trying not to think about Thaddeus's hands during that dance rehearsal. Strong. Warm. Illegal. When she slid a stack of letters onto the table. "My lady, these came from your family's steward," she said, her voice softer than usual. I opened one, expecting an invite to another court event I could fake a headache for. Instead it was a ledger. A very bad ledger. "Rosie, what is this?" I asked, my stomach sinking as I scanned the numbers. Red ink everywhere. Debts piling up like my student loans back in the modern world. The estate's in trouble, Rosie explained, wringing her hands. Your late father, he made some poor investments. If you don't secure a wealthy match or a patron soon, the manor could be seized. I choked on my toast. A wealthy match? Like marry a rich dude? Oh hell no. I'm not here to play Regency Tinder. But the numbers didn't lie. Lady Penelope's family was broke and I was stuck in her body, so this was my problem now. Great. I transmigrated into a broke side character. This novel needs a refund. I had to stay at court, charm someone with deep pockets and avoid the plot. And Thaddeus. Especially Thaddeus, whose smirks were starting to feel like a personal attack. Enter Lord Benedict, a minor noble from the book who's basically the human equivalent of a golden retriever. Rich, friendly, and not part of the main plot. Perfect. At a court picnic I zeroed in on him. He was tall, blonde, and had a smile that said, I pet every dog I see. Operation Charm Benedict is a go. He's safe, not too hot, and won't make me think thirst thoughts. I put on my best noblewoman smile, which probably looked like I was having a dental emergency, and approached him by a rose garden. Lord Benedict, lovely day, isn't it? I said, twirling my parasol like I'd seen in movies. Please don't notice I'm sweating like a nervous intern. He beamed. Indeed, Lady Penelope. Your presence brightens it further. But he's sweet. I can work with this. No plot, just profit. We chatted about flowers, weather, anything safe. I was killing it until Thaddeus showed up. Lady Penelope, Lord Benedict, he said, strolling over with that infuriating swagger. His coat was unbuttoned just enough to show off his chest, and my brain glitched. Why does he look like he's auditioning for a romance cover? Focus, Penelope. Thaddeus's eyes glinted with mischief. I hope I'm not interrupting. I merely wish to compliment Lady Penelope's vibrant imagination. I froze. Vibrant imagination? What's that supposed to mean? Benedict nodded politely, oblivious, but I felt like Thaddeus was reading my diary. Just discussing roses, I squeaked, my face hotter than a summer barbecue. Don't think about his shoulders. Don't do it. Too late. They're so broad he could bench press a carriage. Thaddeus's smirk widened and he leaned closer. Roses are lovely, but I suspect your thoughts are far more colorful. Benedict blinked, confused, while I prayed for a sinkhole to swallow me. Colorful? Is he mocking my flirting? Or, oh God, does he know I'm mentally ranking his hotness? I laughed nervously. Just, normal thoughts. Super boring. Thaddeus raised an eyebrow like he knew I was lying. Hey, this is getting creepy. Why does he keep saying stuff like that? He didn't stop there. Every time I tried to charm Benedict, at a poetry reading, a card game, even a stupid embroidery circle, Thaddeus was there tossing out cryptic comments. Lady Penelope, your mind seems elsewhere, he'd say, or, you have a unique way of seeing things. Each time his smirk screamed, I know something you don't. I was starting to think he was either psychic or the novel's author was pranking me. Meanwhile, Prince Cassian was watching me like a hawk. At a court banquet, he cornered me by the dessert table, his smile all charm but his eyes cold. Lady Penelope, you're quite the enigma, he said, swirling his wine. Not many side characters catch the Duke's eye so thoroughly. Side characters? Did he just call me that? Does he know I'm not from this world? My heart raced. Just trying to survive court, I said, grabbing a pastry to avoid his gaze. Stay calm. He's fishing. Don't let the villain win. But his words stuck with me. Cassian was on to me and I had no idea how. The breaking point came at a court ball. I was mid-flirt with Benedict, laughing at his story about a runaway horse, when Thaddeus cut in. May I steal Lady Penelope for a dance? He asked, not really asking. Benedict nodded, because who says no to a duke? Before I could protest, Thaddeus had me on the dance floor, his hand on my waist, his scent, cedar and sin, wrecking my focus. Oh no, not again. His touch is lethal. I'm gonna combust. His lips twitched and I swear he was holding back a laugh. You're enjoying court, I take it? He said, his voice low and teasing. You seem preoccupied. Preoccupied? Yeah, because you're a walking distraction. I forced a smile. Just trying to keep up with the dances. And not think about how your eyes are prettier than the chandelier. His smirk grew and he leaned closer. Your thoughts are louder than you realize, my lady. I tripped over my own feet and he caught me, his grip steady. Louder? What the hell does that mean? My brain went into panic mode. Loud? Like I'm talking too much? Because I'm super quiet, I babbled. He chuckled, a sound that should be illegal. Not your voice. Your thoughts. They've been enlightening since the first ball. My heart stopped. My thoughts? He can hear my thoughts. I stared at him, my face probably redder than the rubies on Evangeline's gown. You're joking, right? I said, my voice a squeak. Please be joking. If he's heard me thirsting over his jawline for weeks, I'm yeeting myself into the next novel. His eyes twinkled, but he didn't answer, just spun me through the dance like he hadn't just dropped a bombshell. The music ended and I bolted to a balcony, my mind a screaming mess. He can hear my thoughts. He can hear my thoughts. Every time I've called him hot or swooned over his hands or, oh God, I'm done for. Was this why he kept smirking? Why he was always there teasing me? But how? That's not in the book. Is he a mind reader? A magical duke? I gripped the balcony railing, trying to calm down. Hey Penelope, think. If he can hear you, you need to stop fangirling. Think boring stuff. Like hexes. Or oatmeal. I tried, but my brain betrayed me. Even his smirks are hot. Why is this my life? A soft chuckle came from behind me. Thaddeus stood at the balcony doors looking way too pleased. Taxes, my lady? An interesting choice, he said. I yelped, nearly toppling over the railing. You, stop that. I snapped, pointing at him. What are you, a psychic duke? Stay out of my head. He raised his hands, all innocence, but his smirk said guilty. I merely find you intriguing, he said. Your perspective is unlike any I've encountered. Intriguing? That's code for, I heard you call me a Greek god. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. This is not happening, I muttered. I'm a side character. Side characters don't get mind-reading dukes. But as Thaddeus stepped closer, his expression softening, I realized my quiet life was officially over. Between the debt, Cassion's suspicions, and Thaddeus's ability to hear my fangirl meltdown, I was neck-deep in the plot I'd sworn to avoid. Universe, you owe me a scone. A big one. Chapter 5. Fangirl vs. Duke. If I thought court life was a mess before, Thaddeus Valcour's bombshell about hearing my thoughts turned it into a full-blown disaster flick. He can hear my fangirl meltdowns. Every time I've swooned over his jawline or called his eyes a war crime, I was screwed. My plan to stay a low-key side character in Hearts of Valor, avoiding the plot, charming a rich suitor like Lord Benedict and eating my weight in scones, was officially in tatters. Now I was stuck at court, broke, dodging Prince Cassion's villain vibes, and trying not to think about Thaddeus's stupidly perfect face. Which is impossible because he's everywhere, smirking like he's got a PhD in ruining my life. I decided the only way to survive was to control my thoughts. No more thirsting over Thaddeus. No more mental fanfic about his broad shoulders or that Cedarton cologne. Think neutral. Think boring. Think spreadsheets. Texas. Moldy bread. Easier said than done when I was living in a fantasy palace with a duke who looked like he'd been sculpted by a romance novelist with no chill. My first test came at a court library event, where nobles gathered to discuss literature, but mostly gossiped over wine. I wore a navy gown that Rosie swore made me look elegant, but I felt like a knockoff Cinderella. Just stay calm, blend in, and don't think about Thaddeus's cheekbones. I grabbed a book, some dusty tome about magical herbs, and pretended to read, chanting in my head herbs. Time. Rosemary. Not Thaddeus. Not Thaddeus. It was working until he walked in. Thaddeus Valcour, in a black coat that hugged his frame like it was personally invested in his hotness, scanned the room and zeroed in on me. Oh no, he's coming over. Why is he always coming over? His smirk was back and my brain betrayed me. He's like a K-drama lead, but worse because he's real and he knows I'm a mess. His eyes twinkled and he stopped beside me, picking up a book from the table. Lady Penelope, fond of herbology? He asked, his voice all velvet and trouble. Yup, love me some plants, I said, clutching my book like a shield. Don't think about his hands. Don't think about how they'd feel. Stop it. His smirk widened and he leaned closer. Fascinating. I recently acquired a rare book on magical flora. Perhaps you'd like to see it. The book. Is he baiting me? Or is he just being nice? Before I could answer, he handed me a slim volume with a gilded cover, his fingers brushing mine. His hands are warm. I'm deceased. He chuckled softly and I wanted to yeet myself into the nearest bookshelf. The book was one I'd mentally raved about at the picnic last week. The Compendium of Enchanted Blooms. Wait, I didn't tell him I liked this. How does he know? My eyes narrowed. Nice choice, I said, trying to sound casual. Almost like you read my mind. His smirk didn't falter, but his gaze softened. You're full of surprises, my lady. I merely thought it suited you. Suited me? Because I thought about it. Okay, he's definitely hearing my thoughts. I spent the rest of the event dodging him, muttering taxes, taxes, taxes in my head, but every time he passed by, my brain went, his hair's so shiny it's practically a felony. And every time he'd smirk or toss out a line like, you seem deep in thought, Lady Penelope. Stop it, Duke Mind Reader. I'm trying to be boring. Things got messy when a court mystery dropped into my lap. A magical artifact, a sapphire amulet that supposedly amplified spells, went missing from the palace vault. The court was buzzing with rumors and Evangeline, ever the perfect heroine, volunteered to help investigate. She dragged me along saying, Lady Penelope, your quick thinking saved me before. I trust you. Trust me? I'm just trying not to trip over my gown. But I couldn't say no to a princess, so I was stuck playing detective. Thaddeus, of course, joined the investigation because the universe loves torturing me. We were in the palace archives, poring over dusty records, when I noticed a pattern in the thefts. Always during major events like balls or banquets. It's like a heist movie. The thieves using the chaos as cover. I didn't say it out loud, but Thaddeus glanced at me, his smirk replaced by a nod. A clever observation, he said like I'd spoken. Wait, did I say that? Or did he hear my heist movie rant? My heart raced. Just a guess, I mumbled, focusing on the records to avoid his gaze. Don't think about his eyes. They're too pretty. Focus on the amulet. We worked together and I'll admit Thaddeus was sharp. He noticed details I missed, like a guard's inconsistent schedule, and his calm focus balanced my chaotic energy. He's like Batman but hotter. Stop it, brain. He caught my eye and smiled, not a smirk but a real smile, and my stomach did flips. You're quite resourceful, Lady Penelope, he said. This court could use more minds like yours. Minds like mine? You mean the ones screaming about your jawline? I blushed, muttering, just trying to help. Evangeline, meanwhile, was starting to notice Thaddeus's attention. At a court dinner, she watched us closely as he passed me a plate, his fingers lingering on mine. Oh God, his hands again. I'm not strong enough. Evangeline's smile tightened and she said, Lady Penelope, you and the Duke seem close. Her tone was polite, but her eyes screamed main character jealousy. Oh no, she thinks I'm stealing her man. I'm not. He's supposed to be yours. Thaddeus, the traitor, just sipped his wine, his smirk back in place. Stop enjoying this, you mind-reading jerk. Cashin was also watching, his sly grin making my skin crawl. He leaned over, whispering, You're stirring things up, Lady Penelope. Be careful, the court doesn't take kindly to anomalies. Anomalies? Is he calling me out for being a transmigrator? I forced a laugh. Just here for the food, I said, grabbing a roll. Stay away, villain. I'm not your plot twist. By the end of the week, we'd narrowed down the amulet thief to a shady noble who'd been at every event. Thaddeus and I cornered him in the gardens, where he confessed after Thaddeus gave him a look that could melt steel. That glare is hotter than it should be. I'm a mess. The amulet was recovered and Evangeline praised us, but her smile didn't reach her eyes when she looked at me. Great, now the heroine's jealous. This is not in the book. Later, Thaddeus found me in the library where I was hiding with my herb book. You did well today, he said, sitting closer than necessary. Too close. His cologne is a weapon. I tried thinking about taxes, but my brain went, his voice is like chocolate syrup on ice cream. He chuckled and I groaned. You're doing it again, aren't you? I snapped. Hearing my thoughts? His eyes twinkled, but he didn't deny it. You're an open book, my lady, he said softly. And a rather delightful one. I bolted, my face burning. Delightful? He's heard me call him a Greek god. I'm never thinking again. But as I hid in my room, I realized two things. 1, Thaddeus was way too interested in me for a side character, and 2, I was starting to like his attention. This is bad. He's supposed to end up with Evangeline. But why does my heart keep doing backflips? I was in way over my head and the plot was slipping further out of my control. Chapter 6. The Dual Disaster. I was officially the worst side character in the history of Hearts of Valor. My plan to stay invisible, charm a rich suitor, and avoid the plot had crashed and burned. Duke Thaddeus Valcour could hear my fangirl thoughts. Every single time I'd mentally swooned over his jawline or called his cologne a felony. He knows I think he's a Greek god. I'm never recovering from this. Worse, Princess Evangeline was side-eyeing me like I'd stolen her spotlight. Prince Cassian was sniffing around like a villain with a vendetta. And my family's debt meant I was stuck at court, dodging drama while my brain screamed, "Thaddeus's eyes are prettier than the palace chandeliers." Stop it, brain. I'd tried everything to control my thoughts, chanting taxes, oatmeal, spreadsheets. But it was like trying to stop a TikTok binge at 2 a.m. Thaddeus's smirks were relentless, and his cryptic comments like "your thoughts are delightful" made me want to yeet myself into another novel. He's supposed to fall for Evangeline, not flirt with me. Why is he rewriting the script? The only thing keeping me sane was Rosie, my maid, who kept me grounded with her gossip and tea. But even she couldn't prepare me for the disaster that was about to unfold. It started at a court tournament, one of those medieval fantasy spectacles with knights, magic, and way too many people watching me fumble my fan. I was in the stands trying to blend in with my emerald gown, when Cassian took the field, his golden hair gleaming like he'd hired a personal son. He's such a smarmy villain. Bet he's plotting something evil right now. My brain, as usual, had no filter, and I didn't notice Thaddeus sitting 2 rows away, his eyes narrowing. Cassian's joust was more like a performance, all flashy spells and smug grins. But I caught him slip something, a tiny, glowing vial, to a shady-looking knight in the sidelines. Wait, is that a cheating potion? Like magical steroids? Oh, Cassian, you sneaky jerk. In the book, Cassian rigs a tournament to humiliate Thaddeus, setting up a duel that nearly kills him. No way. That's not happening on my watch. I didn't say it out loud, but Thaddeus's head snapped toward me, his smirk gone, replaced by a steely glint. Oh crap, he heard that, didn't he? Before I could think taxes, Thaddeus was on his feet, striding toward Cassian. The crowd hushed as he called out, "Prince Cassian, I challenge you to a duel. Your honor is in question." My jaw dropped. A duel? Now. That's chapter 8 in the book. I just fast-forwarded the plot. Cassian's smile was all teeth like a shark smelling blood. A bold move, Duke. I accept. I wanted to scream. Thaddeus, you idiot. You're not supposed to fight him yet. He's got plot armor until the climax. But my thoughts only made Thaddeus glance at me, his expression unreadable. The crowd buzzed, Evangeline looked worried, and I was losing it. If Thaddeus dies, the novel's ruined, and it's my fault for thinking too loud. The duel was set for dawn the next day, and I spent the night pacing my room, Rosie trying to calm me with chamomile tea. My lady, the Duke's a skilled swordsman. He'll be fine, she said. Fine. He's up against a cheating prince with a magic vial. I need to stop this. I tried sneaking to Thaddeus's quarters to warn him, but guards turned me away. Great, now I'm banned from saving the male lead. This is not in the side character handbook. Dawn arrived, and the dueling field was packed with nobles, their silks and jewels glittering in the misty light. Thaddeus stood tall, his black coat swapped for a fitted tunic that showed off. Nope, don't think about his arms. Texas. Oatmeal. Cassian, in silver armor, smirked like he'd already won. Evangeline was in the stands, her face pale, and I realized she cared about Thaddeus. Good. That's the plot. He's hers. So why do I feel like punching Cassian myself? The duel started, swords clashing with sparks of magic. Cassian was fast, too fast, and I spotted the vial's glow in his gauntlet. He's cheating. Thaddeus, watch out. Thaddeus dodged a blow, his eyes flicking to me, and I swear he nodded. Oh God, he's hearing me again. I couldn't take it anymore. Stop. I shouted, leaping from the stands and running onto the field like a maniac. The crowd gasped, Cassian faltered, and Thaddeus grabbed my arm, pulling me behind him. Penelope, what are you doing? He hissed, his sword still raised. Saving your dumb, perfect face. I didn't say it, but his lips twitched and I groaned. He's cheating. I blurted, pointing at Cassian. He's got a vial. Magic steroids or something. The crowd murmured and Cassian's face darkened. Absurd, he snapped, but a mage stepped forward, confiscating the vial. The duel was halted and Cassian was disqualified, his glare promising revenge. Thaddeus sheathed his sword, turning to me with a look that was half exasperation, half something softer. You're reckless, my lady, he said, his voice low. But, thank you. Thank you. I just saved your life because I can't shut up my brain. My heart was pounding, and before I could stop myself I blurted, I couldn't let you die, you idiot Duke. I care about you, okay? My face burned as the words hung in the air. Oh no. Did I just confess? In front of everyone? I'm yeeting myself into a volcano. The crowd whispered, Evangeline's eyes widened, and Cassion's smirk was pure evil. Thaddeus, though, just stared at me, his smirk softening into a real smile. You care, do you? He said, stepping closer. Oh God, his voice is like melted chocolate. Why did I say that? We'll discuss this later, he added, his tone promising trouble. My brain screamed later. There's no later. I just ruined the plot. That evening in the palace gardens, Thaddeus found me hiding behind a fountain. You can't keep running, Penelope, he said, sitting beside me. His sleeve brushed mine and my brain went, his arm is right there. It's too perfect. Taxes, taxes. He chuckled and I groaned. Stop laughing at my thoughts. I snapped. His eyes softened. I can't help it. They're uniquely you. Uniquely me? He means uniquely thirsty. I buried my face in my hands. Why can you even hear them? I mumbled. He hesitated, then said, I've never heard anyone's thoughts before you. It started at the ball. I don't know why, but I'm glad. Glad? He's glad he's heard me call his abs a national treasure? My face was on fire, but his expression was so earnest it made my heart skip. You're not just a side character, Penelope, he said softly. Not to me. I froze. Not a side character? But that's all I'm supposed to be. My heart was doing backflips and I realized I was falling for him. Hard. This is bad. He's Evangeline's. But why does he keep looking at me like that? As he walked me back to my quarters, his hand brushing mine, I knew I was in deep trouble. The plot was unraveling. Cassion was plotting revenge and my feelings for Thaddeus were about to blow up everything. Chapter 7. Love or Destiny. I'd officially lost the plot, both literally and figuratively. My side character life in Hearts of Valor was supposed to be simple. Stay invisible, avoid Duke Thaddeus Valcour's stupidly perfect face, and maybe charm a rich suitor to save my broke estate. Instead, I triggered a duel, blurted out that I cared about Thaddeus in front of half the court, and learned he could hear my fangirl thoughts. Every time I'd called his jawline a national treasure or swooned over his cedar cologne. He's glad he can hear me? Glad. I'm a walking thirst-trap disaster. Now Princess Evangeline was jealous, Prince Cassion was plotting my downfall, and my heart was doing backflips every time Thaddeus looked at me. This is not the novel I read. Where's my spoon-filled retirement plan? I decided the only way to survive was to distance myself from Thaddeus. He was supposed to end up with Evangeline, the golden-haired heroine, not me, the side character with a debt problem and a brain that wouldn't stop thirsting. He's her destiny, not mine. I need to push him toward her and get out of this plot. Easier said than done when he kept finding me, smirking like he knew I was mentally ranking his cheekbones. At a court musicale, I tried to avoid him by gluing myself to Evangeline's side. She was playing a harp, looking like an angel, and I figured Thaddeus would be drawn to her main character glow. Go fall in love, you two. Follow the book. I focused on clapping politely, chanting in my head, taxes. Spreadsheets. Moldy bread. But Thaddeus sat beside me, his knee brushing mine, and my brain went, oh no, his leg is right there. It's too perfect. I'm deceased. His lips twitched and I groaned internally. Stop hearing me, you mind reading, Duke? You're awfully quiet tonight, Lady Penelope, he said, his voice low and teasing. No, vivid thoughts? Vivid? You mean like how your eyes are prettier than the entire palace? I forced a smile. Just enjoying the music. You should, talk to Evangeline. She's great at the harp. Please go flirt with her. Save the plot. His smirk softened into something warmer. I'd rather hear your thoughts, he said, leaning closer. Hear my thoughts. You've heard me call your abs a felony. Why are you doing this? My face burned and I excused myself to admire the curtains. But distancing myself was impossible. Thaddeus kept showing up, at breakfasts, garden walks, even a boring court meeting about trade routes. Each time he'd drop lines like, your perspective is illuminating, while I tried to think about oatmeal and failed miserably. His coat fits like it was painted on. I'm not strong enough. Every smirk, every glance made my heart do stupid things and I hated it. He's Evangeline's. I'm just a glitch in this novel. Things took a turn at a court masquerade ball. I wore a silver mask and a sapphire gown hoping to blend in. If I'm anonymous, maybe Thaddeus won't find me. Wrong. He spotted me instantly, his own mask doing nothing to hide those storm gray eyes. Lady Penelope, he said, bowing. You can't hide from me. Hide. I'm trying to save the plot, you gorgeous idiot. He offered his hand for a dance and my brain betrayed me. His hands are lethal. I bet they're warm and, stop it. He chuckled, leading me to the floor, and I swear he was enjoying my mental meltdown. Halfway through the dance he leaned in, his breath warm against my ear. I've never heard anyone's thoughts before yours, he whispered. Only you, Penelope. It's extraordinary. I froze, nearly tripping over my gown. Bully me? What? Is this a magical Duke thing? My heart raced. That's weird, I stammered. You should, focus on someone else. Like Evangeline. He shook his head, his eyes locked on mine. I don't want someone else. My brain short-circuited. He doesn't want Evangeline? But that's the whole book. Before I could process, Cassian appeared, his gold mask glinting like his villainous smile. Lady Penelope, he said, his tone syrupy. Might I steal you for a moment? Thaddeus tensed, but I nodded, desperate to escape the feelings bubbling up. Cassian's bad news fragment, but at least he can't hear my thoughts. In a quiet alcove, Cassian dropped his charm. You're not from this world, are you? He said, his eyes cold. An outsider meddling in things you don't understand. My blood ran cold. He knows I'm a transmigrator? How? I laughed nervously. What, like I'm from another planet? That's crazy. Please buy it, you creepy prince. He smirked. I've told Evangeline about your peculiarities. She's not pleased. My stomach dropped. He told Evangeline, the heroine. Sure enough, at the ball's end, Evangeline cornered me, her smile gone. Lady Penelope, I thought we were friends, she said, her voice sharp. Why are you interfering with Thaddeus? Interfering? I'm trying to save your love story. I'm not, I said, my voice shaky. He's all yours. Even if it hurts to say it. Her eyes softened, but the betrayal lingered. Great, now the heroine hates me. I'm the worst side character ever. As if my life wasn't chaotic enough, a magical anomaly hit the next day. During a court garden party, the sky flickered, colors swirling like a glitchy video game. Trees shimmered, then vanished, and nobles screamed as a glowing rift opened in the air. Oh no, this isn't in the book. Is this because of me? Thaddeus grabbed my hand, pulling me away from the chaos. Stay close, he said, his voice steady but urgent. Close. Your hand is making my brain melt. His lips twitched even now and I groaned. Not the time, mind reader. Mages stabilized the rift, but whispers spread. The anomaly was tied to unnatural presences. Cassian's eyes locked on me and I knew he was blaming me. He's right, isn't he? My transmigration broke something. That night, Thaddeus found me in my quarters, his face serious. Penelope, whatever this is, we'll face it together, he said. Your thoughts, they've changed me. I don't care about the plot. I care about you. My heart stopped. He cares about me. Not Evangeline? I wanted to believe him, but the novel's ending loomed. You're supposed to be with her, I whispered. It's your destiny. He stepped closer, his hand brushing mine. Then let's write a new one. A new one? Give me. My brain screamed, his eyes are too perfect. I'm in love and I'm doomed. His smile was soft, not a smirk, and I knew I couldn't run from this anymore. Chapter 8. Rewriting the story. I'd gone from a side character in Hearts of Valor to the star of my own personal disaster movie. My plan to stay invisible, dodge the plot, and live a spoon-filled life had imploded spectacularly. Duke Thaddeus Valcour could hear my fangirl thoughts. Every time I'd called his jawline a war crime or swooned over his cedar cologne. He thinks my thirsty brain is extraordinary. I'm a walking rom-com catastrophe. Princess Evangeline was hurt, thinking I'd stolen her destined love. Prince Cassian was out to expose me as an outsider. And a magical anomaly was turning the world into a glitchy mess. All because I transmigrated? Universe, I want a refund. Worst of all, I was falling for Thaddeus, hard, and his words, let's write a new destiny, were making my heart do backflips I couldn't ignore. The anomaly was getting worse. At a court banquet, the chandeliers flickered, plates floated, and the floor rippled like a bad CGI effect. Nobles screamed, and I grabbed Rosie's hand, whispering, "This is not in the book. Is this my fault? Did my transmigration break the novel's code?" Thaddeus appeared, his face grim but his hands steady as he pulled me to safety. "Penelope, we need to find the source," he said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Source? I'm the source. I'm the glitch." His lips twitched and I groaned. "Stop hearing my thoughts, you mind reading, Duke?" He just squeezed my hand. "They're guiding me." The court mages traced the anomaly to an ancient ruin outside the palace, a place tied to the novel's lore but never explored in the story. "Great, we're going off-script into a dungeon crawl." Thaddeus, Evangeline, a few mages and I, because apparently I was now a main character, headed to the ruins. Cashin tagged along, his smirk screaming villain with a plan. "He's going to sabotage us. I can smell his evil cologne from here." Thaddeus glanced at me, his eyes twinkling, and I mentally chanted taxes. Oatmeal. Don't think about his arms. Spoiler, I thought about his arms. The ruins were a creepy labyrinth of glowing runes and crumbling statues, like a fantasy escape room with no exit. The mages identified the anomaly's core, a cracked crystal pulsing with chaotic magic. "It's destabilizing reality," one mage said. "Something foreign is disrupting its balance." "Foreign? Like a transmigrated fangirl?" Thaddeus's hand brushed mine and he murmured, "Whatever it is, we'll fix it." "Fix it? I'm the problem and you're too hot to focus." Cashin predictably made his move. He accidentally triggered a trap, sending stone pillars crashing toward us. Thaddeus shoved me out of the way, his body shielding mine as dust rained down. "Oh God, his chest is against me. This is not the time, Heart." "Stay sharp, Penelope," he said, his voice steady but his eyes soft. "Sharp? I'm a puddle." I spotted Cashin slipping toward the crystal, a dagger in hand. "He's going to break it more." Classic villain move. Without thinking, I shouted, "Thaddeus, he's got a dagger." Thaddeus moved like lightning, tackling Cashin before he could strike the crystal. The mages restrained him and Cashin snarled, "She's the anomaly. An outsider who doesn't belong." My blood ran cold. He's right, but how does he know? Evangeline's eyes widened and I braced for her anger, but she just looked sad. "Is it true, Penelope?" she asked. "Oh no, she's hurt again. I'm the worst." I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. "I'm not from this world," I said, my voice shaking. "I woke up as Lady Penelope after dying in mine. I didn't mean to mess things up. Or fall for your man." Thaddeus's hand found mine, his grip firm. "It doesn't matter where you're from," he said. "You're here and you're real." Ew. He's saying that while I'm thinking his eyes are prettier than the crystal? Evangeline nodded slowly. "You've been kind, Penelope. I misjudged you." The mages said my presence, my foreign soul, had cracked the crystal which was tied to the world's magic. Great, I'm a cosmic bug. But my modern knowledge was the key. "It's like a computer glitch," I said. "We need to reset it, stabilize the energy flow." The mages looked confused, but Thaddeus nodded. "Tell us how." He trusts me, even after I broke the world. Using my hazy memory of coding classes, I guided them to redirect the crystal's magic through a series of runes, like patching a buggy program. It worked. The crystal stabilized, the ruins stopped shaking, and the sky outside cleared. The mages cheered, Evangeline smiled, and Cashin was dragged off for treason. "Take that, villain." But I was shaking, expecting Thaddeus to hate me for being a glitch. Instead, he pulled me aside, his eyes searching mine. "You're not a mistake, Penelope," he said. "You're my reason." Reason? He's saying this while I'm thinking his lips are kissable? I couldn't hold back. "I'm from another world," I blurted. "I know this is a novel and you're supposed to end up with Evangeline. I'm just a side character." He cupped my face, his touch sending my brain into a fangirl spiral. His hands. "I'm done for." "I don't care about the novel," he said. "I choose you." Then he kissed me and my world, both of them, exploded. His lips are perfect. I'm writing fanfic about this moment forever. Evangeline found her own path, bonding with Lord Benedict, who was thrilled to be her golden retriever. Good for her. She deserves a happy ending. Cashin was exiled, his schemes undone. My family's debt was cleared when Thaddeus quietly paid it off, smirking when I tried to thank him. Show off. In the epilogue, I stayed in the novel's world, living with Thaddeus in his manor. My thoughts still slipped. His morning hair is illegally hot, and he still smirked, but now it felt like home. As we walked through the gardens, his hand in mine, I realized I'd rewritten the story. From side character to main heroine? Not bad for a fangirl. What are you thinking? Thaddeus asked, his smile soft. I grinned. Just that you're stuck with me, mind reader. He laughed, pulling me close. Good.